With a case before the High Court threatening to strike down laws in the British Virgin Islands banning same-sex marriage, Premier Natalio Wheatley has announced his intention to take the matter to a referendum. Section 13(1)(c) of the territory's Matrimonial Proceedings and Property Act says a marriage in the BVI is void unless between one male and one female individual. However, Kenesha Forbes and Kristen Lettsam, both women, were legally married in the United Kingdom and are now asking the court to rule that their marriage is in fact valid in the territory and to further rule that prohibitions against same-sex marriage are unconstitutional. The case, which was filed last June, was stayed while appeals from similar cases in Bermuda and the Cayman Islands went forward to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. In those cases, the Privy Council ruled in March of this year that the constitutions of those territories do allow restrictions on which couples' unions will be legally recognized. However, according to Premier Wheatley, quote, "We believe very firmly that such weighty matters of social and religious significance must not be decided in the courts or elsewhere." The Premier argues that the Constitution affords men and women the right to marry only in accordance with laws enacted by the legislature, and further argued in his statement that the legal prohibition against same-sex marriages needed vigorous defense by the Attorney General's chambers. To arrive at a national consensus on the definition of marriage within BVI borders, therefore, the Cabinet decided to put the question of same-sex marriage to a referendum for the electorate to decide. This is the first time BVI voters have been asked to directly weigh in on a matter in this way. The referendum, Wheatley indicated, will not only have an up or down vote on the matter of same-sex marriage, but will also include questions about legislating domestic partnerships with provisions for inheritance, among other things. Quote, "This approach," the Premier said, "takes into account our obligations under the European Convention of Human Rights while protecting the sanctity of marriage." Now that the decision has been made, the next step is for a resolution calling for the referendum to be presented to the House of Assembly for a debate and a vote. If passed, the Governor will then consult with the Premier before announcing the date for the exercise in direct democracy. The referendum, Wheatley said, would be preceded by a public education and discussion period.